Hello, hello. So it's Thursday. I just wrote the today command there. People can see this, but I want to comment 2 days ago, the morning stream ended abruptly because of my mood. Then yesterday it ended abruptly because the power went out. Today, I only plan on streaming in the morning anyway, but I'm hoping it's just fine. Hey, Flair. I did clean up the commit from yesterday. So we just need to keep working. I think we got most of the Japanese stuff working. We need to figure out the handwritten fonts. I got to do that. Yeah. So this is fine. This is no longer needed. All right, findings. I got to write all this stuff down. I'll just put this in the write notes section. There we go. This is already kind of a mess. All right, get all this working when you change to or from a single language. Japanese at this point. Make sure no languages. Yeah, so I think we did all of this. There. Okay. Have you ever had an experience when someone tries your game in front of you and they just absolutely hate it and it's super awkward? In front of me? No, I don't think in front of me I've had that experience. But I have had people who play it, yeah, a game I've made and didn't like it. It just wasn't in front of me. Look, I think I think being a creator of anything, that's bound to happen. There's the expression you can't please everybody. And especially when it comes to games, that's true. It's not like you're making a policy that's gonna, improve people's lives or something. It's a game, and some people like certain kinds of games, some people don't. And I think it's okay. So yeah, hopefully you don't take it too hard. Hey Jeff Alton, hey Phil. I guess on a call or something also counts. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've definitely seen videos of people who didn't like my games. I don't know if on a call I've seen that sort of thing. The way I look at it is it all depends on what's the reason behind the call. If it's for user research, then I don't know why I typed that. If it's for user research, then I think it's still worthwhile for them to play the game. They could be like, oh man, this definitely isn't the game for me, but like we already booked this time, so let's just keep moving through it. If it's just to play the game and then they're like, oh God, yeah, no, this isn't for me, then I'd probably just be like, okay, that's fine, let's end the call. But presumably if I'm on a call with them, then I know them at least somewhat well and I wouldn't feel as bad. I think I don't know if it's more or less hurtful when it's a total stranger. Hey, Kevin. Okay, so all the hand-drawn font stuff we need to figure out. And this is done, and then this we need to figure out too. I don't know if we just go to some like, how would I do this? How do we search for like Japanese UI of a video game? All right, let's do video game Japanese UI. I don't know if this is, yeah, I see this. I know this database exists. I wonder if they have it for certain languages. Can you do that? If I just click a game here, Star Fox 64. Do they have a language section? I don't think so. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's click this. So yeah, anything, even this is fine. I just want to see how thick is the font on buttons and stuff. And yeah, it definitely looks like it's thicker than the font that I'm using. This looks really thin. I don't know if people are even supposed to read that. That just color-wise is difficult. It's like white on light blue. But the rest of this looks pretty visible at least. Yeah, so I don't know. Do we need to set the weight of this font to just something slightly heavier? Maybe like 500 instead of 400 or something? It's funny, yeah. Oh man. Well, I will say this too. It's not saying something while playing the game doesn't necessarily mean they don't like it. Although usually afterward they would say something. I remember watching a streamer who played and she played for like an hour and she almost said nothing during that time. And then she just sort of like snapped out of a trance and she's like, oh wow, I can't believe all that time just went away playing this. Like I was like, oh, okay, good. I was concerned. All right, so what are we doing here? We're looking at this. Yeah, so like I said, this looks a little bit thin. This isn't even in Japanese though. And I don't know, I wouldn't be able to judge what is too thin for Japanese, but this is definitely too thin for English. So let's increase the weight of it. and then see what happens. Where's the bold font for this? Oh, here it is. Okay, bold weight. Let's set this to, oh no, not even that. Oh, I gotta make a new font variation, don't I? All right, let's do that. So let's say like base font equals this, and then regular font equals all of this. And then the weight, we're gonna set to 500 and just see what that does. This may only be a problem with the font that I got for Japanese. I don't know what it's going to look like for Korean or Chinese. I need different fonts for those, is what I'm trying to say. But I don't know what the weight is going to do to it. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so that's a little bit better. This does make me think that there is no default weight and that it's setting it to like 100. Because I think, like Freak Technic said yesterday, 400 is probably the default. And if 400 looks pretty good, then I think we can commit this sort of change. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, this is definitely good. If this were the font we wanted to use for English, it's readable. It's not the font we want to use for English, but yeah, clearly it works. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's put standard weight here then. Normal weight, 400. And then use that down here. And that's it. All right, so increase weight of regular font for Japan. Yeah. Or JP. What do you write here? Maybe I can fit Japanese? I can, yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. That's pretty simple. What's yellow here? Oh, the to-do item. I don't care about that. All right. So that is done. Customize the locale pop-up menu so it renders the language names. I'll do that later. I want to finish the handwritten font thing. Yeah. So every single place where this is in the game, and unfortunately, I think there are a decent amount of these. Yeah, because we do this and then we specify it inside of each of these. This is for the adventurers panel tab. Yeah, so you can see it very obviously here. Health is written in kind of a straight-laced font, and then 180 is written in the handwritten font. So all the numbers are in a different font from the regular thing. And in something like Japanese, I don't think we want to do that. So we basically need to dynamically switch the font, but only when we're not in one of the East Asian languages. Well, let's get the other ones done first, maybe. Actually, wait, this is true for all of them, isn't it? It needs switching between languages to use the correct font in all places that we're currently using this font. In other words, when we're on an East Asian language, we should not use a special font for the handwritten stuff. How do we do this? Button font for control and label. Okay, so let's just write all of these down. Controls.tres uses the handwritten one for buttons and labels. And then what uses controls? Skill button, settings menu, keybinds menu. Base skill button, games settings menu, keybinds menu. Right? Yeah. Okay, so there's that one. Next up is... Oh, there's only two more places. Floating text. And then the next one is Adventurers panel tab, where it is for literally every number. Okay, you know what we could do? I have an idea. We could make a theme variation and then change the fonts. Actually, we could, well, yeah, we can make a theme variation and then change the fonts for Japanese, maybe? Maybe we should start with floating text. It looks like it's the easiest one to do. And it's because we hard code this. And then what? Just set it as an override? Yeah. Okay, so if we didn't do this, it would default to the project font that we use. Let me go look at floating text really fast. Floating text. So we have this label, and we have theme overrides here. So yeah, I think we just want to set a theme variation of like handwritten. But this doesn't even know what theme it's part of. Actually, wait, this doesn't make sense then, right? I could just give it a new theme and say like handwritten when available. We can do that on floating text. Can we do that everywhere else? Base skill button. Handwritten. No, this uses this. Oh man, this is probably at the base then. So it's any label in here. Hey, Cynical Dev. I never finished that video. Thoughts started brewing after I sent you that whisper that I'm not actually totally sure what to take from the video. One of the things that's always difficult with any game is knowing what actually worked for them that you can replicate. And then also, are you comfortable replicating it? So imagine, for example, that they were like, oh yeah, we just released our game for free and we got like 1 million downloads. And it's like, okay, well, you might be able to replicate that, but like, I don't want to make my game free. I know that's not what happened in the video, but there were some sort of questionable things and a very different approach to game dev. It's still worth consuming the content, I think. It's just interesting. Okay, so anything underneath this VBox container. Let's go look at base skill button. Now, technically, it's anything under all of these as well. But yeah, all of these are the handwritten font. And I think we do something kind of funny with the font size. Yeah, this is probably going to be a mess. Make sure the minus button for base skill button isn't gigantic compared to the plus button. For English, I had to change the font size. Maybe we should just change the font. I struggle with feeling I want to be original. I lose motivation on things if I see someone doing something similar to what I'm working on. I think it depends on how similar. It's like, imagine you were making Mario Kart and what is it? That like Sonic All-Stars game came out. You might be like, oh man, that's really similar. Which, granted, I don't know how similar they are. I haven't played the Sonic game. But yeah, you might be like, oh man, another company's doing something on the same like scale as us and on the same systems as us. But if it's like, oh, someone else made an RPG that's story driven and I'm also making one, it's like, well, that's just the genre thing. All right, I definitely think themes are the way to go here. Otherwise, I guess we're manually controlling this everywhere. Let me see. What else do we use controls for? The problem with big theme files is it's hard to know what we need these for. A whole bunch of style boxes. We change buttons, checkboxes, H sliders, check buttons, labels, menu button, pop-up menu. I don't think we need all of this here. I think we're probably just using this for a font. Although it's very hard to say. We could potentially find out by just removing the theme and seeing what happens. Okay, that looks terrible. But there are other themes that we have here. Maybe we could just set it to, I don't know, like close button, for example. No, that looks bad. Is there any other theme that puts us kind of close to what we want? Base theme doesn't do anything as far as I know. Interesting. Dialogue theme. Yeah, we don't want any of this. I just want to change. Oh, wait, do we? What do we do here? No, we're just changing. No, we are changing the styles. So probably no other button has a custom style for this. There are some. Paper stack theme and basic fonts. None of these are going to work, are they? No, they're not. Maybe I should just make a special theme for this and not everything else. Yeah, that might not be bad. Because I don't see anything that's going to do what we want it to do. Okay. Ingrid, thanks for the resub. Happy 49 months. When I was at Amex, the UK-based team I was on, looked after 18 markets. Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I think if there are multiple offices, it makes sense that only probably one of them is doing localization everywhere, so that you've got all of that expertise in one spot. And yeah, it just so happened to be the UK office. But yeah, it's the thing that I find interesting about localization as a problem is that it's something that's very hard to verify as a developer. Whereas any other kind of development, you can usually verify it even if you don't know how to do it. It's like I might not know how to write a database, let's say, but I can tell at the end of it that like, oh, it stored my data and it manipulated my data. But if you can't translate text, then at the end of it, you can't say like, yeah, that's what a native would say. You just have no clue. There's no way for you to know. You'd have to rely on somebody else. Unless you go learn that language. Sorry, there is a way for you to know. It's just a very, very tedious, non-practical way to know. All right, so all we care about is setting these buttons to kind of just be nothing. That's at least for base skill button. So yeah, well, I have this tabbed in so far. All right, let's just tab this back then. We just need a theme that doesn't have button borders or backgrounds. Controls.tres is probably overkill. They just do translations instead of actual localization. Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough problem. I guess the other thing about not being able to verify it yourself is you also, by not being able to verify it, it means you can't also tell when it's wrong. So it's sort of like accessibility for a lot of people. If you don't need accessibility settings, then you're not going to like test this on your own. Something's going to need to make you test this, the company policy, or that you care about your accessibility users. And I mean, most people working at a job just don't really care about anything. Care about making money. So it's only what they're told to do. Yeah, I wonder what it would be like if, I mean, a website would tank itself by doing this, but imagine if for one day a year, a website just went like blank and they were like, yeah, use a screen reader. Go figure out what it's like to live in this world. But people would just stop going to the site for that day. But yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. All right. The other thing we could do here is we could just change controls font. We could change it for these things. We don't have a theme for this. And yeah, I think I want to go that route. I think I just want to change the font for controls.tres and not make a new theme or anything. Another job, we had someone who was actually blind to train us to build for assistive technology. Yeah, and it makes me wonder, where don't we know that something's going wrong? So it's like, okay, we can talk about accessibility and we can talk about localization, but any other aspect of software development could also be a blind spot for people. Like security, for example. A lot of people are just like, well, I'm writing my application code. Someone else has to handle security or do a security audit or make sure about it. And it's not until a company is compromised that something comes up. And it's like, this is another thing in which case kind of Leaf Node employees are usually protected a little bit. Like you're not the one whose data is being stolen. And you're not the one who is supposed to protect that data. So you're just like, oh, well, whatever, someone else will handle it. Hey, Meridio, how you doing? What are you back from? I mean, I know like a stream break, but like, what were you doing? So controls.tres, I'm not totally sure how we do this. And I didn't, did I change anything? No, I didn't. Yeah, I was just messing around with stuff. Okay. So we get the theme here. I want to also get a different theme. Theme controls theme equals theme db.get. There is no way to get that? Seriously? Really? What other functions do we have here? There's get default theme. I should just look this up online. I don't think there's anything for this though. Theme db. You can't play a game with a centipede in it? Wow. I've heard of this with arachnophobia, and a lot of games have a setting that changes spiders. I didn't realize how bad some of these phobias were, and it always seemed like a joke option to me. Like, I imagine most people would be scared if a horror movie happened in real life. Like, you go to a cabin in the woods and someone's out to kill you or something. Like, that'd probably be scary. But then in a movie, it's like, well, it's still scary, but in a way that you know is simulated fear. So I thought it'd be the same with games, right? You might be scared of a spider in real life, but then you see it in a game, and you're just like, oh, it's like watching a horror movie, right? But yeah, apparently there's a very visceral reaction for some people. You're applying back to school, got accepted in the program. Nice, nice, nice. Little hiatus, also vacation to Boston, also nice. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I was just thinking of like yesterday or 2 days ago, I went to my local library and I had gone to the Boston Public Library for the first time a couple months ago. I was very impressed. And I just thought, man, what if that was just the library that was closest to me? And I just walked there and yeah, studied there. And yeah, Grounded definitely does it. Yeah. And I think, what was that game? Lethal Company, I think, did it. So how do you get just a random theme? Oh, I could probably load the T-res file. Resource cache dot load theme. Yeah, something like this. I just got to get the right path to it. Crossmere Hotel. Yeah, it's super cool. So it's just in game / controls. Can we just try changing some random thing about this? Can I just set like, let me think about this. What can we change? It's obvious, just a color of something, I suppose. Is there a color here right now? Yeah. Color, font color. Got it. Okay, so let's take this. Now let's put this over here. And let's do controls theme dot set color. And I want, yeah, font color for button to be pink. I just need it to be obvious. All right, let's try this. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So there are only 3 places where this would show up anyway. Oh, nice. It already worked. Huh. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Well, that's what I wanted. So cool. All right. So the color is not actually what I want, though. What I actually wanted was to change the font. So we got to figure out how to do that. That should be pretty simple. So where are the fonts here? There's one. And I guess we can just search for font equals. Okay, so just button and label have changed to be the handwritten one. I just recognize this ID as being the handwritten one. So button and label, we got to remember that, button and label. All right, now where'd that code go that I wrote here? All right, so button and label. And we want to change the font. And I want to make it the regular font. So we're going to put this stuff down here. And then I'll just write to do in English, use the handwritten font. Why is regular font not working for this? Cannot convert from font to color. Oh, what? I have it set color. There should be set font. No one does it for centipedes. I don't know how many games have centipedes in them, though. Obviously, the game is Centipede, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Where do I see centipedes in games? I'm not even sure. A surprising amount. Well, yeah, it would probably show up on your radar a lot because it'll stand out to you. Whereas for me, it's hard to even list a game that has a centipede in it. Other than Centipede. Oh, what am I doing? I gotta go back to the title screen. Okay, so now if we just look at, yeah, skill buttons, here we go. So it's 0 out of 2, and if I do this, actually that's not too bad, huh? In fact, that looks kind of nice. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Where else does that show up? Because I just modified 3 things at once. Game settings menu. Okay, let's go take a look at the game settings menu. Wow, looks totally different. But something's wrong here. I can't tell. I can't tell what's wrong. All right, let's take a picture of this. And then let's take a picture of the starting version of this. I think the M's are wrong. I don't know how that's possible. So I think I must be mistaken here. No. They're fine. Let's do this. Let's do canvas size like 1600. Resize. Just put these side by side. All right. So on the right is a handwritten font. On the left is Noto for Japanese. Huh. Yeah, I guess everything's fine. I'm using the right font, correct? Is that what music interval is supposed to look like in this font? How do we find that? Google Fonts, Noto, Japanese. Is this the one I got? I don't even remember. Yes. Okay, so where do we test out different text? Can we just type here? There's somewhere you go, oh, type tester, there it is. Yeah, so what I want to type out is music interval. No, this doesn't look right. There are no serifs here. It's a sans serif font. And in the picture, we have serifs. What's going on? Oh, I'm not using that font. That's why. Because I need to press page up, not page down. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. My bad. Everything is working fine. Yeah. I knew something looked wrong, though. I mentioned it at first. And now I finally figured it out. All right, cool. So what do we learn from this? That we can change the controls theme. All right, so then this is technically done. Then floating text is next. Floating text probably doesn't have a theme. Does it? Theme, empty. All right, so we could make a theme for this. But then we need to figure out the last one. All right, let's, how do we do this? Yeah, I guess we just have to make a new theme. And then save as assets, resources, themes, handwritten font when possible. It's kind of silly. So now instead of the font being the handwritten one normally, we put this into the theme for, what is that, a rich text label? Yeah. So we click here and what's going on? I mean, there's a default font. I don't want to customize that. I guess I do want to customize that. Yeah, I guess so. Quick load handwritten. What if I set this to a different one? Quick load main? Yeah, nice. It changed. Okay, yeah. All right, I think we're good there then. So that is what did I call this? Handwritten. Can I copy that? Show in file system. Well, I didn't do what I wanted to. Copy path. Got it. Popular enemy in D&D. So I have to warn my dungeon masters. All right, just make it have 98 legs. And it hits centipede level. That's when we're frustrated. Okay, and then we're going to set the default font here. Is that a thing? Is there a default set font? I don't know how we do this. Maybe we just set default font and say string.empty. All right, and this is for floating text, which we don't even have on the title screen. All right, let's try this out. You should just role play as a character who's not scared by centipedes. That's your solution. Okay, so all we need is the enchanter. and we click a bunch of these, and then we hit save. All right, so this spell is already active. That's written in the handwritten font. Now we do this and go back into it. Oops, I meant to hit load. No, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Did I forget to save? No. Is this not how you change the default font? Oh, I didn't use the variable. Silly me. I'm still not certain this is going to work. But I know how we could get it to work, so I'm not concerned about this, but it's going to potentially waste time here. Oh, whoops, I did the same thing again. I didn't actually click anything there. Continue. Yeah, so now nothing's showing up. So I definitely broke that. Oh, man. How do you set the default font? Oh, there it is. Oh. I tried set default font. I didn't realize I just didn't need set. Hang on one sec. My phone just did something and I want to make sure I'm not missing something important. Okay, good. Yeah. They're just regular messages and I will respond to those later. I'm not going to interrupt the stream for that. I just want to make sure there's no emergency. All right, look at that. We got it. So now this is no longer the handwritten font, which means that battles are going to look a little bit weird. Yeah. And then the text execute should show up here when it's about to die. Okay. All right. Nice. So that one's done too. And then this is the difficult one. Good job. Yeah, thank you. That's the bricklaying mentality. I actually don't necessarily mind this, and I feel like it's all working towards something. The real goal is to release a new demo. And the reason why we're focusing on localization is because a side goal here is to test the translation pipeline that we have. And that won't work if we don't have a font for these other languages. Brick's mentioned. Brick. Hey, Pheromon. Familiar with this? This being... what am I doing now? Okay, so the final one, yeah, here. Bricklaying, yes. Yeah. And brick moving in a Sokoban game. Okay, so here, this is a little bit difficult because what we do is we set a font path for each individual label. So basically it looks like this. Skill points 5, but actually the way it's rendering is like font 1 and then font 2. So I think option 1 is do what we're doing now, but rather than using a constant string to represent the font, get it from the locale settings or something. Option 2 would be to like make a custom component. This would be nuts. Yeah, that actually has 2 labels and set their fonts via a theme. Option 3 is like use one font for all of this stuff. I don't think I like that idea. I think I like option number 1. There's probably some other options I didn't really think about too much. All right, so instead of handwritten font path, here's what we're going to change this to. We're going to change this to a property that returns this if you're on English. Wait, how do you... What am I doing? What am I doing? I gotta write get here. Yeah, what am I doing? I have almost certainly messed this up, because I never remember the syntax of this stuff. I think it was this. No. Oh, wait, I have 2 of those now. No, still no. I'm just guessing syntax until I finally figure out what this is supposed to be. And I don't know. So fine, let's look this up. Yeah. Geez, you'd think this would be in my muscle memory now, but I rarely convert what was typically just a constant into a property. Wait, this looks fine. Oh, because I said it's const. Well. There we go. All right, now that's correct. So I'm going to have to say to do rename this or put this somewhere else. All right, so font switcher, we have this concept of like, are you on a default font locale? I need to look that up. Hey, Xyletics. So public static bool is using default font locale. There we go. Then replace this. All I care about is what's the current locale. So at some point we need to set what this is. I don't know where we do that. I'll just write that down for here. To do set the locale. This should just happen somewhere else. All right, I don't totally know how we... I don't know how we're going to do this. All right, let's just hard code it and then test it, I guess. So if it's the handwritten one we do... Oh, we need to get the... We just should have a thing saying get handwritten font. All right, I should go figure out where we set the locale. So local settings, saver. Set locale. I18 set locale. Translation server. Oh, it's stored there. Nice. Okay, that's easy. So we delete this. Well, we can't actually delete that, can we? Get locale. That returns a string. This isn't going to work. No, this is going to work. I said I was going to hard code this, didn't I? Let's hard code it then. Yeah. So this will be get handwritten font. And we're just going to hard code this to return either this or the font based on the language that you're using. So like Japanese. Where's Japanese? Where's Japanese? There it is. All right, so let's hard code this to the Japanese font, and then let's go use that. So this, instead of being handwritten font, is just going to be font switcher dot get handwritten font. Cannot implicitly convert bool. Nice. Okay, lots of cleanup work, generating a lot to do. That's all right. So now I shouldn't need to do anything. If I just go into a game and I press T to open the adventurers panel, I should see all of the numbers in a different font. Yeah. Interestingly, this does not use the right boldness. So we can't just return a string. No, we have to return a string though. I did not think about this. Oh, this is not good. Yeah, this isn't good. Oh, no. Godot BB code. Okay, maybe there's a way to set the weight. I doubt it. Oh my god, there is? Okay, I would not have expected that. All right, so then here's what we need to do, and I think this is even more tedious, but at least there's a way that we can accomplish this. So right now we set the name and that's it. I need to set the name and potentially the weight of the font. And everywhere that we do this now would need to change. And I have this all over the place. And we just need a closing font tag. It is a frequent experience. So this is going to be like public static string get opening font tag for handwritten font. Oh, man. Yeah. So much cleanup we're going to have to do here. All right, so font path equals this. And font weight equals, it should just always be fine to set it to 400 actually. I don't think I need anything special here. Yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I can just delete this. Because I think setting it to 400 no matter what should be okay. So how do you do this? OTV, it's open type value, weight equals whatever. So everywhere we have font name equals this, just replace it with OTV equals, and then what? Quotation mark, WGHT equals 400. All right, that should work, maybe. I should probably spell it out as a weight. Wow, nice. Okay, pretty good. All right, now some of this is broken. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? This implies that it's not using the right bold font, but I don't even know what font it's trying to use. I guess every time we get an ability tooltip, we can go find out what it's trying to use. Where's get tooltip? What skill was that on? Mental swiftness? Yeah, let's just get on a mental swiftness then. All right, so I'll just copy paste all of this and we'll do gd.print. Wait, there's no font here. What am I doing, right? This has no font. Format number, just says format number. Format numbered bold string. Yeah, there's no font here. That's not good. That's definitely not good. There's a problem. For all the time I spend in long-term decision-making processes and design, I'm surely going to encounter the consequences of my own actions at some point, likely unavoidable outside of the areas of expertise. Yeah. Yeah. I think this is why making an engine is kind of crazy. So here's the situation I find myself in, a decent amount at least. Like I make something, a bot, a site, whatever, and then it works, it's fine. Then years pass, and due to dependencies updating, it no longer easily builds. And then I get annoyed. So this happened pretty recently with Abbott, the bot that I made for Discord and Twitch. On Discord, there's been a problem with spam lately. So I made a channel called like posting here will ban you. And then I needed to update my bot to make it so that when you find a message in here, ban that person. The code for this is maybe like 10 lines. That was not hard at all. The hard part was just building the project again. That took me more than an hour because I think there was some like breaking change in Node or in, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I just imagine that if I'm the one who made an engine, for one, I guess there wouldn't be any breaking changes. I would be the one to make those. But if I ever find, oh man, I want this functionality now, and 5 years have passed, it's like, okay, I gotta go modify the engine and then modify the game. I don't want to do that. When do we get Wowie localization? Imagine if you type that in Japan and it's like Shiba Inu. Oh man, that would be pretty funny. It's a lovely thing about making my own engine and everything. Number of dependencies it can break is minimal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That part's nice. But then, yeah, anytime something goes wrong, you're the one who needs to fix it. I think it's a pro and a con. It's like if something is bad in the engine I'm using now, I could wait 2 years and probably get it fixed, and I don't need to do anything special. But then that comes with a bunch of other things, maybe more controversial decisions. So this is quite a problem. And like I said, it suggests that we're using the wrong font entirely. I don't know how that's possible, though. Oh, wait, no, I know exactly how that's possible because we never set this for English. So all I need to do is press page down and we're done. Yes. Nice. Okay, I've done it already. So now if I hit new game and we go look at that same skill, or really any skill, yeah, all the numbers are now fine. Whew, okay. I was very worried there for a second. Turns out I was just in a state I shouldn't have been in. Looks pretty sweet. Cool. Streams keeps buffering. Take care. Take care, Amy. The mercy of people smarter than me to fix it, so I'm glad to be the one responsible now, even if it means learning entire categories of knowledge. Yeah, yeah. I think what you're doing is a good thing, and I think you will learn a ton, and I think it is probably satisfying to be like, I don't know, someone asks you, hey, what engine did you make this game in? And you're like, my own engine. Then you take off your sunglasses. Okay, so we are fine with everything now. And I don't even see a problem over here, do we? Yeah, the minus is like a tiny bit lower than the plus. We could probably just fix that some other time. I don't want to do anything about that right now. Okay, cool. Can you make comments in theme files? I wonder if that's possible. I don't think you can. No, I don't think you can. The equivalent, the thing I'm trying to find is in any node you have, there's this editor description, and you can just type whatever you want here. You could be like, this is for text in battles or something like that. And that's it. It's just a comment. I didn't know something like that existed for theme files. I don't think it does. Although when it exists, if we search for editor description, can I just type this into a theme file anyway? Wait, what's this doing here? What is this doing here? Party member and party member base. This is going to be a problem. How did I miss this? How did I miss this? Huh, strange. Okay, yeah, I need to fix this. Fix handwritten.tres. I don't even need that new theme. Hey, Codex. Currently facing it. That request is too hard, so we won't fix it, but you're welcome to do it. Yeah, I guess I'll have to. All right, so we put an editor description in here, and I just wrote something like testeroni. Does this break something? Where do we use that? Party member, I think? I think this is for the names of characters. Yeah, I don't know where it is. Maybe on the label? No. Container? No. VBox container? No. All right, let's just look it up. There's no point typing this out a bunch of times. T-res party member has it on the level label. That's it. Where's the level label? Here it is. Theme here. So there's no way to see what I typed. And if I hit save here, what happens is delete my comment. Yes, it does. Okay, that's fine. I don't necessarily need it to do anything different. All right, so what do we want to do then? There are 2 handwritten themes now. But this one sets a font size in addition. And it's only used in 2 spots. I want to find those exact spots this is used. One is for the level label. The other is for the exclamation mark label. I don't know why we use it there. Okay, whatever. And then... where's the other one? Name label. Okay, so name, level, and exclamation mark. Name, level, and exclamation mark. So we should just change... what if we just delete these things? This will probably break everything. Yeah, it'll probably break everything. Oh, man. All right, what if I get rid of that? It disappears. It disappears. This is gonna be a problem, won't it? Yeah, this is going to be a problem. Handwritten font when possible. We did this in controls. We did this in floating text. Floating text should not have color and size on it. All I care about is the font, though. Oh, wait a second. These two are always for characters that are going to be the same in every language, because this is just a number, and this is an exclamation mark. So that's not an issue. The only issue is with the text here. This would get localized. I mean, yeah. Yeah, there's no number format problem here either. It's always an integer. Hey, Mohikamar. Welcome back. All right. This is tricky. This is very tricky. So we leave this exactly how it is, and we change it on the name. And just the name. I hope this works. Oops. Theme, handwritten. Okay, so we load in handwritten when possible. It turned white when we did that. So I guess we also need to override this to have the same color that we had everywhere else. I don't like that. But the color is this. How do we get that color? Well, for now, let's set it to like bright pink or something like that. There. All right. And then let's go find handwritten. I want to copy the color, but I don't know how you type in those numbers. So I'll just find it from over here. Yeah. I guess I could have converted it myself. It's not like I really don't know how to type it in. All right, nice. And now that should get localized, which might also mean it'll go out of bounds. So we might have some truncation problems here. Let's try it out. And then I got to write a comment about handwritten not needing to be localized, because that is not going to be clear. So if I do this and we continue. Yeah, I think the names are going to go out of bounds now. They surprisingly do not go out of bounds. Okay. Hey, Lemmy, it's going pretty well. I think we just pretty much finished up the difficult stuff, and now there's just a lot of cleanup to do. I got to write a note about this, though, because, yeah, this is not going to be obvious in the future. Or maybe we just write fonts here. So for English and... Well, for English, French, Italian, etc. I'll just keep the etc. Quickie Joe made, like, handmade 3 fonts. Where are those fonts? This. Well, I guess he technically made 4. Man, these fonts are tiny compared to the other ones. It's because there aren't that many characters in them. So I'll just say handmade a few fonts. One for regular text, one for bold, one for SVGs, well, like icons, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, and a handwritten looking one. Hey, Jill F.A. Thanks for the raid. What were you doing today? Welcome, everyone. I'm looking up the channel now. Code for a living, living to code, developing a turn-based isometric RPG. Oh, cool. Yeah, if you have any links you want to share, feel free to share them in. Well, welcome in, everyone. We are working on a game called Skeleseller, and I've been working on this for over a year and a half at this point. So there's quite a lot of game to it. But what we're doing today is not really game stuff. It's font stuff. So if you are playing the game in English, then we have certain fonts we can use. And if you're playing in, let's say, Japanese, then we need to change some of these fonts because we can't render every character in them. Actually, the more I think about this, yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna be working on font stuff today, and a lot of like boilerplate cleanup code, and it won't be very visual or fun to watch. But welcome in nonetheless. And if anyone wants to check out the game, there it is. Did the flag issue get fixed yesterday? I looked into that more yesterday, and I found something that was kind of interesting. So the flag is laid out like this in the file. Yeah. So there are 4 sprites, one right next to the other. And what we were seeing happening is the flagpole should remain static, but it was like wiggling. So it was getting thicker or thinner within the animation. And I thought, it's only happening horizontally. Like it's only widening or getting thinner. And it's not growing taller or shrinking smaller. So what I did is I laid all the different flags out in their own files. So like here you can see there are 4 different files and it looks like a waving flag. And then the problem went away. So I'm not totally sure what caused that to get fixed. And then Kevin suggested, why not put them vertically and see if it starts shrinking vertically as well? And it did not. So something weird is happening with rendering in that case. So we have a workaround. I haven't checked it in yet. I don't know why it doesn't happen elsewhere. I don't know the explanation for why it's happening here. I wrote some notes on it. Yeah. It's sour. Well, BONE in this case stands for business optimization via new expansions. We're rendering still? Doing things from scratch? It takes time? I see. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Man, so you're also in the like make an engine camp. Feorman's also working on his own engine. All right, so here's what I want to write down. And a handwritten, and yeah, one that looks more like handwritten text. These are all separate files. We don't have italicized fonts. We don't have explicit fonts for italicized characters. Instead, we skew characters to do faux italics. Okay, so however, in Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, we have variable font files. These languages don't have the concept of italics. We also don't have a handwritten font for these languages. Oh, I'm realizing now what the problem is going to be. So if we look at an adventurer's level, this font, this number 1 that shows up here, you'll never see anywhere else in the entire game. Like this one is going to be different. Ones that show up in the tooltips are going to be different. Ones that show up in battle are going to be different. You'll only see it here. And if you have a skill point that you haven't spent, you'll only ever see this exclamation mark here. In fact, you can even see, oh, that's a problem. The system.func system.string has 1 unspent skill point. Unspent skill point. Okay, I can find to fix this very quickly. Done. In fact, what we should do is search for get display name, comma, because that's almost always a problem. Is there anywhere else we did this? Yep, right there. Look at that. Poisons the mind of all enemies. All right, check this out. So if we click unlock and we look at this. Yep, it says system.func system.string. All right, fix that problem. Anywhere else? No, that's it. All right, so we found and fixed 2 of those. Technically, that could be an issue anywhere else too. I don't know what else we do besides get display name though. There might be some like, I guess we can just search for func string get. There's get higher description. There's get all that stuff, but it's probably just that. There's also get name. Now let's search for get name and get description really fast. Those are fine. And get description. Those are fine. Cool. Did you outsource your art assets? As in, did I not do them myself? Yes, that is correct. I did outsource them in that sense. So Quickie Joe did the bulk of them. And there were some asset packs that we based the work on. So I've got the credits command with all of that information there. Game looks so cool. Need to run and pick up the family. Have a good rest of the stream. All right, thank you. And thanks for the raid. And yeah, I will definitely check out your stream. Let me write this down. I feel especially bad whenever it looks like I've only remembered this because someone's leaving the stream, because it almost encourages people to like. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to finish that thought, and there's nothing nefarious going on anyway. Almost like each flag frame was truncating out the white space and then scaling back to 50 instants. So here's what I think is happening, and it doesn't really make sense, but I think the way that you use sprites from a sprite sheet is that you bind a texture on the GPU, and then you come up with the like percent positions. I don't know how to say this. Like, yeah, the percentage based positions of each sprite. So, for example, if we have 4 sprites in a row, you would say that one is at 0, the other one's at 25%, the other one's at 50%, the final one's at 75%. We also have some camera scaling going on, which is 2.5x. This is the only time that this happens, is when it's at a non-integer scaling level. So I think something's going on between these numbers that is causing this to mess up, but then that wouldn't explain why this doesn't happen when it's vertically arranged. So I'm still not totally sure. Yeah. What do you use for balancing? Just spreadsheets? We have a balance simulator in the game that I used for a little bit, but then a lot of it's just kind of based on feel. This is not like a typical RPG. In a typical RPG, you're manually controlling the game. You would feel the differences in balance. You know, the difference between you casting, let's say, like 3 fireballs and 4 fireballs, if you're the one controlling it, that's a pretty big difference. That's 33%. But when you're not controlling it, it's not really a big difference, because it's a difference between the battle lasting for like 8 seconds versus 10 seconds. And eventually you're going to level up, and then they're going to take 4 seconds, and then they're going to take 2 seconds. And then, yeah. So like the differences don't matter as much. We don't need to be super fine grained about this stuff. All right, interesting. So those 2 things I just did, I need to check in on their own, right? This, and there's one other one. Where's the other one? Oh, did I not fix it? Who even had the problem? Oh God. Right. Oh, there it is. Has 1 unspent skill point. Ah, right. It was not an ability. So where's that? Here it is. Yeah, good. Okay, so fixed problem with tooltips. I was rendering a function rather than calling the function. Functino. TLDR must be bad. It exists. Any reason you use Google Drive over something like Obsidian or Notion? I have exactly that question here. Yeah, there's no like great reason for it. There is one other reason that's not listed there, which is that for Obsidian, I sync these notes to GitHub and then publish them a lot of the time. So any like to-do list sorts of notes would probably just get ignored forever. And I need a special folder for them, pretty much saying like these will just accumulate forever and I just shouldn't touch them. And that's what Google Drive is for me. It's all those notes that I'll just have. And yeah. Okay, so this is good. I have not finished writing this README here. We have variable font files. These languages don't have the concept of italics. We also don't have a handwritten font specifically for these languages. We don't have one. Yeah. As a result, most places that this shows up need to be dynamically changed to a new font if using CJK. However, there are 2 places, there are very few places where we know for sure which characters we can potentially render. For example, an adventurer's level is always in the range of 1 to 20. So it's okay to use the like English font, and it's even preferable so that it always takes the same space in the UI regardless of the locale. Yeah, so when intentionally All right, to pick fonts at runtime, we modify themes dynamically. As mentioned above, we don't always switch away from this. Hence why we have handwritten.tres and what's the other one called? Handwritten font when possible. The former will always use the handwritten font and should only appear in places where we can control the characters we print. The latter will use a localized font instead of the handwritten one. All right, well that's something. That is something. Wow, I did not mean to click that. I feel like these buttons shouldn't be right next to each other, but they're only 3. So the revert button needs to be next to one button, but unfortunately it's right next to 2 buttons right now. They should have put it on the right side probably, or all the way on the left side. That way there's less of a chance of you accidentally clicking a very destructive button. Video frame just sits on top of chat and blocks it completely. That or I'm missing something. Video frame sits on top of chat. If there's the chat only option, I don't think should have the video frame, right? I think you can get a pop-out link though. Like here's the link I used to read chat. So you can see it's just that same link and it's literally just chat. I mean, there's also the ad break thing going on there. But yeah, maybe you can load that from your tablet. Because yeah, there's no video player on that page at all. All right, so everything here is pretty reasonable except these functions. So this function never ended up getting used. That's fine. And yeah, so a lot of this stuff probably needs a change. And I almost wonder if we should change every place we use this to be like handwritten font opening tag. Handwritten font opening tag. So it would look like that. Yeah, that's a little bit cleaner, I think. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, at this point, we're at a lot of cleanup I think that we need to do. So handwritten, whoops. Oh, nice, it's already on my thing. Hey, cool, easy. All right, let me replace all of these. Yeah. Good. And then these two. Cool. So it looks a little bit weird because you see a slash font, but you have to trust that this is actually an opening font tag. But I think it looks maybe a little bit nicer than what we had. Plus, if I do this, whoops, if I do that, this should be shorter lines. No, because I didn't have the weight here before. Now I have the weight there. Okay, that's fine. All right, yeah, clean up. This is unfortunate. There's a lot to do here. So get handwritten font. This needs to be based on the language that we use. So what we should do next, I think, is manifest language data. Manifest font data for each language. What is the handwritten font? What is the regular font, etc. Yeah, this is going to need to change. I'll just write it to do here. Correctly pull the font path based on locale. Anything else? No, that's it. Okay, and then what do we have here? This is already pretty much fine. We have some weird code at the top. So handwritten font path, we don't need this to exist anymore. That can be changed with that. And then this is going to be a problem. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? No, I don't think so. Whew. Okay, so handle handwritten font. We shouldn't be using this font in most places when on CJK. I wrote Y in the README. I18 and an MD. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. We are getting there. Okay, next, what I think we need to do is figure out how to manifest each of the font files that we have. So in English, I guess, can we genericize this somehow? Because I have to save that link somewhere because I don't think I can pop the chat out myself through the app. Yeah, you can probably bookmark it. I have it on my homepage. I have it right here. So I can just press E and it'll open it up. Because I end up doing that every single day. All right, so let's figure out what are we doing for English. We have a regular font, a bold font. Yeah, we do things differently in English. And what do we do for Japanese? This should have been fixed. Okay, so I think we need to save off what these strings are somewhere. Yeah. All right, let's go do that. There should just be like a get regular font based on locale. Public static string get, well, this doesn't need to be public. Get regular font path. And as mentioned, it's got to be based on the locale of this. I don't really like this. Yeah, I don't like this. We'd have to get the locale through here anyway. Wonder what this is equal to. We save it, so I should be able to go find it. Local settings saver, save locale. There it is. Locale save data right there. Okay, so we just go load that up. Local settings. Yeah, perfect. Locale. Oh, it's a number? That's what we do at least. Yeah, we save it like that. But how do I figure out what we have it set to? I guess we can just fetch this information. Is this public? It is. Huh. Do we ever check it anywhere else? Huh. Okay. Yeah. I think we can do this. This locale is equal to that locale. Would you look at that? Okay, good. All right, so we don't want a string locale. We want a locale. And then we get local settings, saver, local data, locale. Okay, else if it's Japanese and do that. Else throw a new exception. All right, now we call that function. So this is going to be the regular font path. Yeah. Local save, local equals locale. What is that actual line into being? Locale equals local setting saver dot local save data dot locale. Yeah. It's kind of funny. All right, this should also be get regular font path. To the point where we don't even need this to exist here or here. Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. So now for English, we want to use the handwritten font. So it's not regular font, it's going to be handwritten font, which we have up here, don't we? Yes, thank goodness. All right, so handwritten font potentially, or like, yeah, I don't know, something like that. Then we use this here and here. That fixes that to do item. And then same thing with that. No, probably like that. Okay. And then this needs to be changed too. So this should be pretty simple to write. Put this here. We say return this. Otherwise, return get regular font path. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think we need to set the locale here. But I think switch to locale should not be a thing. I gotta change where this is done. All right, so let's go test this out. So I'm gonna press page down, and now the game should just look like how it's always looked. So if I see anything out of place, no, that all looks good. Tooltips should hopefully look fine. Yep. Numbers should look fine. Names are tinier than they should be. How did that happen? No. No. I know how it happened. Handwritten.tres specified more things than what we're doing now. It had a font size. It had a color. So I need to set the font size to be larger. Is that right? 18? Yeah, I think that's what would do it. Oh, this might break it on the localized ones now. Ugh. I don't want to figure this out. It's gonna be annoying. Yeah, these look fine now. But if I change the language, they're not going to look fine anymore. Oh, I can't change the language? What's going on? Uh-oh. What did I do? Locale is Japanese. So we go into here. We get the fonts. This won't tell me anything. Oh, this is what's wrong. Our locale is never actually updated. Okay, we should fix this code now. Man. All right, let's go to, where is this? Unhandled input. It's not even here. It's in the title screen. Unhandled input. To do, remove this code. Okay. There. Then in the settings menu, where you change the translation is where we need to do this. Update language control state. Where do you save this? Set locale. Here it is. So when you pick something from this menu. So as soon as it's been set, that's when we want to call switch. Or like update based on locale. This is also a mistake. Yeah, this is a mistake. This is a mistake because this can be done at project load time as well. I got to fix that. Yeah, I got to fix that. How do we do that? This must be called from another location. It's not. Is this called from another location? It's also not. How does this get done at launch time? Huh. Huh. Must be in load. What do we call that? Nah, there it is. Set locale. What does this call? It calls this set locale. And then it saves it to this. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I gotta figure out how we change this. Oh man, I gotta call this somewhere. Set locale. That's what we're doing here, right? Local settings here. Yeah, so I think we can just do this there. Go ahead, let's try that. This is nuts. All right, so I go into here. I think this one's Japanese. I can't read either one, but I'm pretty sure this one is. Yeah, now you can read it. And everything should be good. I wonder if the names overflow now. Yeah, they're too large. It's a pain. And it's the wrong font weight. Man. It's going to be the wrong font weight everywhere, won't it? I wonder if you can set a default for that. Yeah, wait, of course we can. Instead of using the... Wait, no, we should already be doing that. Yeah, normal weight is right there. Why is it not respecting that? Because of this. I see. Yeah, I see. Get regular font path. Oh, man. That's not how we want to do this. We want to get a font. Oh, no. No. All right, well, there's another way we can do this, but this is kind of stupid. Can we do it this way? So we have to load a font here. And do it like that. All right, that should fix it. This will make the numbers even more obviously wrong. All right, so we have Japanese set right now. Yeah. Well, not the numbers, sorry, the names of the characters. Yeah, we just can't fit these. And a simple solution is just lower the font size. Problem is, we need to know that we're on a bigger font and then lower the font size. Which would mean modifying a theme. And I don't think we have a theme for that. Name label. It's just handwritten font if possible. Well, there is something else we can do here. We could listen for... There's a notification. Yeah, notification translation changed. We can do this. Where though? Party member base? Yeah. Okay, let's try this out. The implement interface. Here's the function. On translation changed. So we need to know what the locale is. And then we'll just print it out. Okay. So I just want to see if this changes from English to Japanese. And then based on what language we're in, we can change the font size. Let's put these things side by side. We'll load the game. It's not going to say anything because we haven't changed it yet. But now when I go into here and I change it to English, it should say that we changed it to English. Locale is now Japanese. That's a problem. It thinks it's what it used to be, not what it currently is. Hey, Pickle. That's not good. This is invoked at the wrong time then, right? No, but it's Godot doing it. This happens too soon. On translation changed. Where do we call this? Here. When we get this notification. Oh man, what sends out the notification then? We need to save it before we emit this. And yeah, this is where this happens. All right. So save before setting. And then just put this at the end. Hold on a second. Is there another problem here? Should the font switcher just use this thing? No, I don't think so. I'll just write a comment here. In this case, it's we save before setting the locale so that other components can check locale. No, it's local save data.locale to see what we changed to. Okay, all right, let's try that now. Well, it was printing English and Japanese, it was doing it based on what the language had been set to. Now it should be based on what we're changing it to. So I don't know what it's currently set to, but we're just going to change it to the other one. Okay, good. So English. Yeah, locale is now English. Perfect. Now it does cause a little bit of lag, I think, which I think I'm okay with. It's changing everything in the whole game when you do that. Probably we could make that more performant somehow, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. All right, so locale is now English. Yeah. So here's where we check this now. If font switcher dot, yeah, there should be a function for that. Actually, this probably won't help. I think we might just need to resize this based on. Well, let's go take a look at some. Let's go take a look at some words in German. German typically has pretty long words, right? Let's look up warrior. That's not too bad. Cleric. It's not too bad. Witch doctor. Okay, that's a little bit longer because it's all one word. What else do we have? Rogue. Archer. Okay, that's pretty long. Oh, I didn't even copy. Who else? Mushroom. Who else? Oh, spirit caller. Did I type that in already? Oh, that's a long word. As you're doing font work for accessibility, is it worth including an open dyslexic font for those who want easier to read font? No, I don't think so. I think, for one, I read online about its fonts supporting dyslexia, and everything seems to be anecdotal rather than actually researched. And two is, even if there were provably better fonts, there's only so much I'm going to do for this game. Yeah. Hey, Sui. Do you use Muryoku? No, I don't. I use a custom layout. I've got my layout there. It's basically Colmac DH with mods inside of layers that are set to one shot, and then some combos for other mods. But Muryoku did inspire the basic layout, years ago for this. Okay, so if I put this into the UI, it's just not going to fit. But what font size would make it fit? 9. Okay, 9 would work. We can do that. It's quite the big change. So yeah, on English, let's set it to 18. On everything else, let's set it to 9. That's probably a dumb idea. One shot for the finals, if only. They added a new mode yesterday. It's been pretty fun. It's apparently a mode taken from Battlefield, but I've never played Battlefield. It's an 8 versus 8, like defenders and attackers kind of thing. I think it's called Russian Battlefield. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the name label, which we have. So I should be able to find this here in party member base. Name label, here it is. And we should have the locale. Locale is now, yeah. So if the locale is equal to English, I want to set the font size to a different number. This is kind of bad. Yeah, this is kind of bad. This is both for the sake of font combined with the word length. So if I just click continue game, I think this is going to be pretty tiny now. That's not right. Oh, because the locale never changed. Ooh, I didn't think about that. So it's only when you change it that it's going to set it. So now it's the right text and the right font. And now, yeah, now they're really tiny. I don't know what we do here. Yeah, I don't know what we do here. But we have another problem, which is that this should be set on like locale being set originally. How do we do that? I guess just in ready. On translation changed. Am I wrong in thinking how much of this should have been handled via providers? I mean, we have, this is like an event that's being passed to us for this. This is one of the only cases where we have a static sized UI node. At least I think so. And I'm not actually still sure what we should do. Like we could have a label that resizes based on how much text is inside of it. Like there's a maximum size that the label can consume. And if the font would push it beyond that, then we change this. Update labels sizing based on the locale at load time. We could wrap like in the middle of a word, but I think it would look bad. Like imagine if you saw, like let's say you had warlock, for example, but you can only fit 4 characters. Like it'd be warlock. So imagine that happening in another language where it's just like, oh, where was that German word? Yeah, like this. Like we might be like, oh, let's just cut it off here. And that is not at a nice boundary. So yeah, we have to just keep shrinking it, I think. And yeah, we're probably gonna have to do that at some point. All right, so let's hit continue. This should work now. Yeah, nice. It's using the tinier font. I guess we'll write this down. I'll copy this down here. We probably need to make a like max size label. or something for party member base. Right now, I just changed the font size based on the locale. But a German word like this won't fit unless the font is really tiny. It should probably dynamically change the font size based on the string we're trying to render. Yeah, I think dynamic sizing is difficult too because it probably looks out of place. Like in English, these all fit totally fine with a pretty large font size. And we know these names are never going to change in English. Like I finalize these. So yeah, Witch Doctor and Spirit Caller are the longest ones in terms of total length, and Warrior looks like the longest one in terms of just single word width. Paladin is up there too. And they all fit. They look great. I think this is totally fine. But yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like in other languages. And maybe in German, only one of them actually is super long. So like, should that have a tiny name in the UI? Should it just go beyond the, I don't know. I don't know what we should do. But like I said, that's one of the only cases where we have a fixed size thing. Like in a tooltip, any text you put in a tooltip is always going to be fine because the tooltip will just get larger. Like this one, for example, is pretty tall. So you can have words of pretty much any length in there. It's not going to be an issue. This is also fixed width, but it's only for rendering 2 numbers, so this will never be a problem. And yeah, same thing over here. This should never be a problem either. This is also fixed width, but you could fit like 5 digits here. And the costs are the same regardless of the language. So it's just a matter of what the font size is, and we can just change the font size for those. So if I set this back to this and we go look at that same tab, yeah, like it fits. Do you need the names? I'll probably need them eventually, yeah. But I'm not for the sake of this. Like I'm not going to focus on the truncation issue for now. It'll just be a slightly smaller font size. We probably shouldn't lower it that much. We should probably lower it to like 11. Hey, Sully. Would a tooltip suffice? I don't think so because you'd want to see at a glance what the name of that character is. Maybe, yeah, there are a lot of other little things we could potentially do here. But I guess for now, let's just move on to the task I actually had. Yeah, so now this doesn't fit. I wonder why that's not working though. I think this has too large of a size here. Yeah, we need to shrink this down. There's a name container. And I think the name container gets sized dynamically. It doesn't? Why do we even do this then? Huh, this has a unique name, but it doesn't have a unique name for a reason. And this is all inside a VBox container. So the name container just should not expand all the way. Or is this a margin container? Oh, it's a margin container. Okay, well then we can just change the margins. I can just set this to, you know how we can do this and test this the easiest way? Is I change the font size to exactly 11. Wait, why didn't that work? Oh, because it's also a different font. Drat. Okay, then we change the font too. Quick load in Noto. All right, so there's our problem. But then we just change the margin. Perfect. So we just need to set that to 4:4. So I'm going to not save. I'm going to go back in. That way I don't save the font things. Party member base name container 4:4. There. Hey, Spirit on caller. Thanks for the resub. Keep hearing my name. Keep thinking, whoa, we had to meet a game. Then I realized how absolutely narcissistic that thought is. Well, you never know. You could be a flavor character in it. But yeah, how have you been? Haven't seen you in a while. May also be possible to rename the characters for those languages. Yeah, that's another thing I was thinking. We could potentially shrink it down. Also, what even was that word in German? Spirit caller? Yeah, there's probably something else. Like maybe you call them the summoner. Yeah, that's a smaller word. I don't know if that fits. We could try it. No, it doesn't. But that's okay, because we can lower the font by a little bit. I think we lower it to like 11. Yeah, that'll fit. Yeah. So yeah, we could change some of these things. Heaven caller. We'll just change it to Spirit on. Kind of hope Kit invited you to be part of this 1500th stream episode, which is happening right now. He did not. That's okay though. And yeah, totally fine. Good to see you. I'll type this in case you truly can't listen to both of them at once. All right. So let's just look at this one more time. Here are the English ones, and here is, yeah, this. Yeah, they're not as readable. That's okay. Though this still needs a little bit more. So Spirit Caller is a little bit busted. Constantly watch yourself and learn. Your progress is incredible. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot to do, and there's still a lot to do. All right, so we got to change this to be maybe 5 pixels. You know what I should do? I should just count how many pixels it actually is instead of just guessing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. So now it's look fine, right? Somehow that did not make it look fine. Maybe I need to hit save and then reload it. Take care of the leap year, girl. That's because I do work with accessibility and icons can work with user recognition. Yeah, I just still think the names are really helpful. I've seen a bunch of people play this game, and I've only watched people, well, sorry, I've watched people play it in a lot of different languages, but I don't understand what they're saying in a lot of those languages. So at least the ones who speak English, it's like, oh, I just hired my mage. Where are they? And then they go to here and they're like, oh, okay, that reinforces that they're the mage now. I know the icon will help afterward once they've learned, but that association at first is pretty important. Okay, so yeah, we fixed that. Cool. All right, so what do we do in total here? Updated the font size and dynamically set these things based on locales. Yeah. Okay, so automatically update fonts based on locale. In testing this, I realized that that party member base wasn't using the right font size anymore. And when it is, the text in Japanese wouldn't fit. We now dynamically change the size based on the language. Also, I did something else here, right? Oh, yeah. I also use the correct handwritten font based on the locale. This is a mess. Just a mess of a problem, at least. I don't think the solution's that bad. Okay, so I think we're at the point where we can just add Chinese and Korean and be fine. So let's take a look. Manifest font data for each language. I mean, we got that. Customize. Oh, I haven't done that yet. Make this work for all languages, Chinese, Korean. Download a bunch of fonts, test them out. We don't need to do that anymore. And yeah, all right. So let's go find fonts for those. I think we can just search for Chinese. Yeah, thanks. And we want exactly this. Okay, so get font. I'm guessing this is going to be the largest font we ever download. So download. So Japanese was 9 megabytes. How big is this? 18. Yeah, it's too bad. Oh well, whatever. Gotta do it. All right, so paste this in here. Done. And then we go get Korean, which should be, I assume, way smaller. So X out of that. And how do we search for fonts? Korean. I'm going to guess 4 megabytes. Let's see. What did it end up being? 10? Really? It's bigger than Japanese? Huh. Gave you power back quickly. Yeah, the power came back pretty quickly. And hasten to Stella. Abby is adorable. She just wants to sleep on me all the time, regardless of if I'm playing a game and like moving or something. Every once in a while, I'll like gasp or exclaim, and she will wake up And I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. Go back to sleep. All right, so yeah, here's the Korean one. Okay, so how do we get this to work now? So Japanese. Oh, why is this Japanese here? Locale is Japanese. How about this? How about we just make a CJK locales? There we go. Except for I want it to be in order CJK. Why is that yellow? Oh, I haven't used it. Yeah. Organic volume limiter too. Do your cats get spooked whenever you say stuff? Or if you're playing a game and you jump around? All right, so get fonts for CJK. CJK, we have get regular font path. Get regular font path, we need to customize Korean and Chinese. So Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Now we just type in the names. SC for simplified Chinese. And where's the other one? KR. Oh, nice. Right? That's the same name? Yes. Hey, hard worker. Corporate life is fun. You make like-minded friends and you talk with them. What a funny, very human thing to say. Certainly not something an alien visiting Earth would say. It's such a funny thing to say. Startled that they're hanging out with me near him, but I've always been pretty reserved. Ah, I see. You haven't played exciting enough games. Still playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I also like to make like-minded friends. I also like to talk with them. I'm just teasing you, hard worker. I know you're a human. All right, what was I doing here? Oh yeah, testing out Korean and Chinese. So that's weird. Why is that? Why is that a different thickness? Oh, and that doesn't render either. Oh, right, right. Because I got to make a custom menu. Ugh. Ugh. I don't want to do that. Whoops. All right, well, fine. We can still click it. So now we have the language set to Korean. And it's not using the right font. Oh, because I forgot to click Godot. Yeah, it has to load the fonts. Otherwise, I can't do this. Excited to watch new indie Claire Obscure. Win a bunch of awards tonight. Yeah. Hey, Sarah. First 2 weeks weren't so nice in the office circle-wise, so I felt boring. Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. Like, it takes some time to get to know people. The other thing, I had started a job back in 2014, and I felt almost repelled by the people there on my first week. And I've recounted this story a couple times. I'm not going to share too many details or anything, but it was my first day. Somehow it was like someone said, I don't know if it was me or a manager or another person who worked there, but they were like, oh yeah, let's all go out to lunch and we can bring Adam because he's a new employee. And nobody talked to me. They were all just still talking to each other about whatever they normally do at lunch. And I was like, this does not make me feel welcome. And I just think they lacked the awareness. I don't think they were trying to be rude or anything. They just didn't know that, like, oh hey, I might want to be included on their conversation. I felt incredibly out of place. Okay, so what is the language set to right now? So this is Korean. Let's set it to Chinese. Now, oh, that didn't work. Resource not found. Oh, because I have .ttf there twice. .ttf.ttf. Okay, wow. I messed up every basic thing I could have messed up. All I have to do is type 2 paths, and I somehow got that wrong. Man, Skeleseller winning any awards would be amazing. Okay, so now I think it's set to Chinese, which means Chinese should actually show up correctly in this menu. It does. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, cool. It's just a little unfortunate that this takes so long. I guess it's changing the font of everything. Excuse me. I wonder if we should pause the game on this menu. Then maybe it wouldn't be as noticeable. Then again, I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, let me mess around and see what the other languages are. I don't think people would click that. So this should only be for people who actually want to change their language. And a 1 second lag that shows up is not the end of the world. And it's not even that bad when you're switching between them. All right, cool. So that is now done. Do we search for Japanese anywhere else in the code base, or like look at Japanese specifically somewhere? No. Do we have any other to-do items? No. Add Chinese and Korean fonts. All right, so now for the annoying thing, and I didn't want to do this. Customize the locale pop-up menu so that it renders the language names in fonts that can actually render those glyphs. We just need to make something custom for this. You click the button, it shows another control. We render each item in a custom font, and then make sure this works with a controller. I don't see why it wouldn't. It shouldn't even be a pop-up menu. All right. I don't want to do this. So we're going to make a new control here. Okay, take care, hard worker. So what is it going to be? It's going to be, I guess, a VBox container. Whoops, what am I doing? Change type, VBox container. And it's going to be like locale menu. We can't change the font. We can only change the font for all of them. So we would need a custom font that has these characters in it, which we could do. That'd be great. I just don't feel like going and pulling glyphs from each font and like, it'd be tedious. Maybe there's a small font we could use that has all of the languages, like Noto Sans font, just big enough to write each language name. Doesn't expose individual buttons? No, it doesn't. I already looked into this. The pop-up menu, Godot, they just have a single like add item, and it's just a string. Yeah, add item, label string. And they have icon items too and check items, but they don't have like a random a variant or a button or something. So yeah, you change it for all of them. And it's too bad. And I looked at a bunch of issues and I tried to find anything online, like have other people run into this? They have not. You know what we might be able to do? Is there any language that can render all of these? Like if I pick Chinese, can it render? Yeah. So if we just use the Chinese font for this menu, we should actually be fine. Yeah, that's smart. Because Korean doesn't render Chinese. Japanese doesn't render Chinese. Only Chinese renders all of the characters. Well, well, well. We came up with a very, very simple solution for this. What a funny idea. Yeah, hilarious. All right, so how do we customize this font? Quick load Chinese. I'm not certain that'll work. Maybe we need to do something else. So this will look a little strange because when you pick English, for example, it shows in a different font. Oh, wait, what's going on? The menu. Oh, I'm just changing the button. I don't want to change the button. I want to change the menu. How do you? I forgot how you do this. I can do it through code. I guess we'll do it through code then. Language menu button. Pop up. Yeah, so pop-up dot add theme font override. How do we do this? We set it to this. The problem is I don't just set it to this. I set it to this with a variant. Add theme font override. Cannot convert from string. String name font. Yeah, so I got to do new font variation. Base font equals resource cache load. Wait 400. The resource cache. Will that work? I gotta write a note why we're using Chinese for this. Hey, nice. All right, pretty cool. In fact, what if it can render those characters, can it render all of Korean and Japanese as well? I probably shouldn't trust it to do that. Well, what if it can? And what if we only need one font for all of them? We'd save a lot. All right, so we got to go find Chinese, simplified Chinese. This page doesn't exist. Type tester. Okay, so let's get the type tester for Japanese and just copy paste all of this stuff. You can't select this. Huh, that's weird. No, you can't select it. Oh, there we go. Just very strange how it works. Okay, so now delete all of this. My God, selecting this is so difficult. This does not work like a normal text edit works. There. And normal text. I mean, I don't see any like weird glyphs here. Yeah. The the Chinese font has Japanese in it then? So if I search for just this and I type a bunch of Japanese in here, this isn't going to work, right? God, how do you get rid of this stuff? Yeah, no, that definitely doesn't work. Interesting. Very interesting. So wait, if I command Z all of that, or just maybe refresh the page and change the language to Japanese, what happens? You can't do that. If I change it to French. Okay, it just changes what language it uses the sample text from. But it can't pick Chinese and it can't pick Korean. So can this one pick other languages? Korean, no. Can this one? Also no, but it has the characters. Okay, so what happens if I go find the Korean font? Can I type all that stuff in the Chinese font? If we just make all this normal text, that's probably why I can't select everything. Because there's some like special characters there. All right, no, I still can't do it. All right, whatever, I don't care. No, Korean doesn't render. Just enough for the words or the like, characters that form Korean. Oh man, all right, fine. All right, so let's translate Korean into Korean. And then let's copy that into the Chinese one. That did work, right? No, it doesn't. Well, but it's definitely working in the game. Oh, it's falling back to my system font, isn't it? So this isn't guaranteed to work on someone else's machine. Which is why it doesn't have the same thickness as the other one. Oh, man. That would have been so nice. Do I have a Korean font on my machine? What is going on? I don't understand this. Why don't I have fallbacks for other languages then? Can I search for Korean? We should be able to identify what font it is, right? I guess. I don't think this matters. I think the point is that I shouldn't rely on this. I probably should make a custom component. Still don't want to do this. Yeah. Yeah. You're so close. Can't just do this. It changes the font for the whole menu. And while it does work on my machine, because I have a Korean fallback font for some reason, it isn't guaranteed to work on every machine. Although, wait a second. If you speak Chinese, you'll have a fallback font for this. No, but that's not the reason why. All right, here's the question. If we delete this code, how unprofessional does it look? I think it's pretty unprofessional. It probably makes you look like you don't know anything. How unprofessional does it look to have garbled characters there? So this is what we see right now. And it's because we don't have a fallback font for this. Because if your locale will be chosen by default. So if you speak French, it's going to select this. And then you'll probably just never touch this menu unless you want to switch to English because you're annoyed at the French translation. Looks like I haven't unlocked the language yet. Beat the game to unlock this. It happened. New game plus in Chinese or Japanese. Yeah, I think it's unprofessional looking. I just don't really want to make a custom component just for this. But I guess it is just a bunch of buttons, right? It should be pretty easy. All right, let's go do this. All right, so it's going to contain a button. And we probably want the same theme we're using for this, which is who knows what? Controls.tres. Okie dokie. So the button is going to say, I guess, English. I don't want this taking up the whole screen. Wonder if Japanese, Chinese people recognize Unicode for common words like that. That would be, yeah, that'd be impressive. I doubt it. Also, hey, ABC. I think we just want to set this to shrink, right? Why is it not actually shrinking? That's strange. What am I missing? I don't know. It doesn't matter. All right. Anyway, you'll click this. So this will open the thing. And then by doing so, we're going to show all of the other controls that we have here. So add a control, maybe. This might be stupid. Hang on. I'm trying to visualize this, and I'm having a hard time. So what do I want to have happen? I want this to be a button. And when you click it, it expands to show you all of the other languages. So French, Italian, Spanish. And then these are all clickable. So clicking the main button shows the other ones. Clicking one of those selects that language. So we could just dynamically add in all of the other buttons that you haven't chosen here. You need some way of closing this pop-up menu, though. I guess just clicking the main button could do it again. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll call this primary button. And we'll save this under scenes, UI. We don't have a language thing? No. Okay, we'll call this locale menu. And then we'll give it a script. Source there. Normally we'd put this in UI. Yeah, fine, let's do that. This only exists because pop-up menu can only have a single font applied to it. So if you don't have a font capable of rendering each language's native name, then it'll show as Unicode characters. We get around this by using a custom font for each button in this menu, each element in this menu. I don't know for sure they're going to be buttons yet. Okay, so we have a button for the primary button, which we're going to go fetch. And when you press it, it's going to open the menu, which is really just adding more buttons to the VBox container that this thing is. So let's just do add child, new button. This is not how we would do this. And we do this in a list anyway. So let's just get the fake languages that we have here. String testaroni equals English, French, German. I just want to start with a few of these. So then we'll iterate over these for each string language in testaroni. Button equals... Oh, we should probably clear this out. Well, we need to know if the menu's open or not. Is menu open? So if it's not open... Or how about this? If it's open, then just free all of the non-primary children buttons. For I equals 1, I is less than, get child count. Yeah, there. And then just return. Otherwise, open the menu. Oh, no. We have to do it this way. So swap these things, which is kind of a dumb way of doing this, I guess. So now if is menu open, we'll do open menu, otherwise close menu. So it was closed. Now it's considered to be open. So we have to open it. Yeah. So closing the menu would just free all of these children. Opening the menu is going to do this stuff. So button equals new. Text equals language. Don't care about the font for now. Button.pressed equals. Yep, great. And add child. All right. Okay, so there's our basic locale menu. Game source UI. We don't use system in here. Yeah, we got to change how this works a little bit, but let's go plug this into the game settings menu. So instead of this, or maybe just in addition to for right now, let's put in, what is this, an HBox container? Yeah, let's instantiate a new locale menu here and get rid of that for now. And make this expand to fill that. We need to change the styling on that too. But yeah, let's go test that out. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted, except for I want this to not expand the menu. So this does need to be in a pop-up menu. God. No, man. All right, well, we could put it in a control that's just bound to the bottom of this. Maybe. So if I put a control here and then underneath that, I start adding buttons. I guess this control is really another VBox container. At which point the locale menu itself is just a button that has a control under it. It's kind of frustrating. All right, well, anyway, let's try this. So French, German, put those inside the VBox container, save, and now go look at this. Okay, that's more like what I wanted. Now this needs to be in a panel with probably a margin container underneath it. So we put those things there and that there, and then the panel we give it, I don't know, I'll just make it flat for now. Yeah, whatever. It's just got to look like something. All right, so we save that. Yep, nice. And then margin would look good on this. So let's give it like 8888. Okay, not terribly bad. Why is this not a solid color? Why isn't this blocking what's beneath it? Huh, that's weird. Yeah, why isn't that working? That's strange. I guess because it doesn't have a high enough Z order. There we go. Okay, not too bad. If we want to theme it like this, we give it a pretty plain background, actually. It's not like this is anything special. So there's the color that that uses. So now we can use that same color here. And now it should look like the other ones. Why doesn't that look the same? Oh, because this is white. Okay. How many languages are you doing? I think 8 besides English. So yeah, now we just need the font color in here. Which I guess we would make a new theme for it, because otherwise we can't do this, can we? Yeah, I'll make a new theme really fast. And we'll call this resources, themes. What time is it? 10:41. Okay. What do we call this? Locale menu pop-up. And the only reason I'm doing this is so that buttons can get a new color. Where are the colors? Font color. Here we go. So just add this. There. Perfect. Okay, so how's that look in the game now? It didn't get updated. All right, not too bad. It's still not working totally correctly, though. Like, you can't click these buttons because the thing beneath it is somehow getting the focus. I don't know how that's even possible. This should be set to consume focus. Yeah. What? Maybe this is what we need to say to +1. Although this thing itself should not be consuming the focus. That should be set to ignore. And then this doesn't need to be set on top of that. I'm not sure why we can't click French or German here. You can hover over it a little bit. Yeah, so I can click it there, but that's not great. Did it even work? It didn't work. It should have output, like, you pressed language here. Oh, no, it shouldn't, because I never, okay, never mind. I know what's going on. Well, I think I know what's going on. I added these things here, but they shouldn't be there. They should be added through code. And then this control should only be showing up. So this is going to be something like pop-up. All right, private control pop-up. Good, yeah. So now we don't need his menu open. Just whether or not that thing is visible, we'll know. So if this is visible, then close the menu. Otherwise, open the menu. So opening the menu is going to, I guess we could do it like that. Yeah. And then put this back to how it was. All right, so it's getting the button container, which is here. Button container. Private. Actually, it doesn't really matter what that is either. It could just be a control. Button container equals null. And add it to those. In fact, we could just call button container.free all children. Or free children? Yeah. And then add this here, button container. Okay, let's try that. I think this is still going to have the exact same problem. So I click this, it makes a pop-up. Somehow it also moves the page very slightly. Kind of weird. And the pop-up isn't sized correctly. And clicking this should work. Yeah, you pressed English. You pressed French. Okay. Well, there's obviously some problems here. Huh. I guess game settings menu itself is already kind of what I want. There's a VBox container, then a panel, then a VBox, then a margin, then a VBox. Ibokanon. Maybe I set something wrong. Oh, or maybe something needs to just be set to expand to its parent. Yeah, these are set to fill. So this is probably not set to fill. Why can't I click those? All right, how's that? Who knows? Yeah, who knows? How's it coming along? It's coming along pretty well. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is slightly better. Okay, so now this accommodates the buttons that are inside of it. And I realize now why this thing is getting bumped up, because this is a VBox container. So if we make this the root and then attach the script to that and then get rid of that. So now locale menu is just going to be a control. All right, that'll fix the little jostling that happens, but it's still not going to make this pop-up work, and I'm not totally sure why. Well, now it doesn't work at all because I have the press on the wrong thing. Yeah, primary button is this thing. So this is now just the locale menu. Which means this needs to be a button. I mean, maybe we can make use of what Godot does when it pops up a menu and put this in an embedded sub window. I don't think that's needed. Yeah, it's like, why can I click the background? This panel container has its mouse filter set to stop. Maybe this needs the mouse filter set to stop? I don't think so. No, something's still going wrong here. It's showing up above everything else. And yet, I can click the checkbox behind this thing. I've just never known Godot to work that way if it's showing up above it. Maybe this is what needs an ordering higher than everything else? I might need to restart everything now. That didn't fix it. Man, this is like UI 101 here. I don't know. I got to think of why this wouldn't be working the way I expected to. The mouse filters are set to stop, stop. Oh, I also got to make sure sounds work on this thing. Yeah. Yeah, the mouse filters are set correctly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I guess let's go look at this. Oops. Whoops. All right, so I click here. Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work when I do this repeatedly? It's another thing that's kind of strange. Let's just restart this. I think because it's not, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the panel doesn't get set correctly after that. Maybe it thinks it's got the wrong size somewhere. All right, so it thinks I clicked, yeah, always use action menu. But if I click here, it knows that I clicked the English button, right? Locale menu, button container, button, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm missing. I'm also not sure why that's not working correctly. And wow, it got the wrong color in there. Oh, that's because it's selected. That's not a problem. Huh. Yeah, huh. I don't know. I don't know what's doing that. Well, let's go look at pop-up menu in Godot. What does it inherit from? Window. We might need to make a window. Yeah, I wonder if that's what this is supposed to be. I wonder if that would actually do anything. I just, every other time I've had a problem where I can't click something, it's because some other control's in the way. And this time I'm trying to make it so that a control's in the way and I can somehow click behind it. I've never had this problem. And it just feels like it should be so easy to fix, and it's not. I'm clicking through this somehow. I don't have an explanation for that right now. Is there something special about where these things are? They're all inside of game settings section. Yeah. All right. Well, let's try putting it in another window then. I've never done this myself. I've always had Godot handle this for me. So does a pop-up set always on top to true? Well, what does it say for pop-up? Man. It's too bad there's no way to just use this and set fonts on everything. Yeah, it's too bad. I don't really want to make a custom component for all of this. It's like the component we have works. It's just not rendering with the right font. The other way we could solve this problem, if I wanted to try to solve it this way, would be to find a font that just has enough characters to render all of the languages in their native languages. So like Google font to render just language names. Technically not possible. Wow. Huh. Yeah, all I need. I wonder how hard it'd be to take glyphs out of these fonts. Like, it's presumably possible, but I don't know how much work it is. And what I want is a font that's probably like 2 kilobytes or 5 kilobytes or something. It cannot be that hard to do. Man. What if I just search for a language in here? No. Yeah, man. Encoding data. These languages generally use a different encoding than English, so it might be hard to find a single font that does all. Yeah, just to be clear, what I'm thinking of doing, and I could even just use pictures for this, just the language menu that we have, which I don't know if I have a picture of that anymore. No, I don't. Anyway, it's only got like 8 or 9 options in there. I just need something that has those 8 or 9 options written out. Maybe we just do approach it from this point of view. I just open this thing in a window. Hey, Boolean. Maybe language carousel instead of a pop-up menu. A carousel wouldn't be a problem if we had a more performant way of changing the language. Because then you could just click, click, click. But now it's going to cause like a second of delay each time you switch because it's got to change the fonts on everything. I'm just still baffled that I can't render things over this. Like I've had this problem everywhere else. How is it actually that we're not able to click the button in the background here? Like that's a thing, right? I didn't do anything special for that. Like the game settings menu just has overlay background here. And this has the mouse handling set to stop. Yeah, strange. Doesn't even need special ordering. Does Godot not have localization support? Usually those libraries have a way to do this without a bunch of extra work. It has localization support. The problem is that in a pop-up menu specifically, it's just one font for everything. And the problem is the user may not have like Chinese, Korean, Japanese on their system. So yeah, those languages would render like question marks or something. Not really question marks. I should just go show you what this looks like because it's easier to explain via a picture. Yeah, so if I do that, I think we can see it. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about here. This menu has only a single font applied to the whole thing. And I don't have Chinese and Japanese on my system. I somehow have Korean on my system, so that's rendering just fine. But yeah, I don't want let's say a French-speaking user and a Spanish-speaking user. They're like, oh, it's set to French because of my locale, but I actually like to play games in Spanish. So they open this menu and they're like, what? What is that? This looks unprofessional. That's all I'm trying to avoid. I'm saying those libraries usually have a default select from the available locales component. I don't think there is such a default thing in Godot for that because this is something you would expose to your user. So the odds of there being like a single way of rendering all this stuff or even the usability of it, it's pretty low. The components they provide are much more sort of bare bones, like a container, a button, a label. Well, yeah, I think we go with a window solution. Is there a menu overlay option for pointer events or something like that? You could try setting something like that to false, which might allow mouse pass through. So the only thing that controls the mouse is the mouse filter, as far as I know. And we have it set to stop on all of this, which should be what I want. Control will receive mouse movement input events and mouse button input events if clicked on through GUI input. Will also receive mouse entered and mouse exited. They're automatically marked as handled and they will not propagate further. Results in blocking signals to other controls. So yeah, this is what I don't get, is if all these are set to stop, how is it not actually stopping them? Maybe, oh, here it's set to propagate up. Maybe they all need to be set to stop. All right, yeah, let's try that. I mean, buttons should have it set to stop too. Okay, for some reason, no, I didn't fix this. It's just that I moved where the control is. Yeah, I don't know why this is happening this way. But as mentioned, I probably need a window for this, and I'm just hesitating on whether I want to actually do that. So strange that doesn't work. Oh, unless, wait, buttons should have this by default, right? Let's just go add a button to a scene. The mouse is set to, yeah, it's set to stop. Maybe when it's set through code, it's not defaulting to stop for some reason. I'd be kind of surprised if that were the case. Mouse filter equals stop. What is the default? It doesn't say. If this fixes it, then I understand what went wrong. I just did not expect the default to be different from what it is in the editor. Mouse filter ignore. So ignore would be if I want it to pass through. I explicitly do not want it to pass through in this case. Like when I click this, it pops up a little menu here and I don't want it. Like you can kind of see this. It's selecting the checkbox in the back, even though I have the cursor over French. So if I click French, it's actually just unchecking the box behind it. And setting stop on this should be enough to prevent that from happening. But it's not for some reason. I'm not sure why. And like I said, I've had the reverse of this problem before. I've had an issue where I'm like, oh, I can't click edit keybinds. And it turns out that this thing is in the way and it's invisible. Now I'm trying to get it to stop there and it's not stopping there. And every single time I've run into this in the past, that's what's happened. In fact, I wrote a whole bunch of notes on this stuff. Yeah, this I have making elements clickable. Look at how long this section is. It's like 5 or 6 pages long of notes. Yeah, then it gets to there. Another consideration. So let me read this. Maybe there's something else I'm missing here. Canvas layer consuming clicks. It's not, I'm getting this from the wrong element. I mean, another way we could do this is set these things to ignore. And maybe that's what a window essentially does. Like I could just dynamically change these things to be ignored, but I don't think that's the right way to solve this. I'm just not sure how the cursor is even getting there. Mouse move event should only be going to the locale menu. And everything here has the mouse filter set to stop, right? Past scroll events. Yeah. And even the button itself has that. I think, I wonder if it's a sizing thing. I wonder if it's like this has 0 size. I wonder if I just set this to, yeah, have a size. So like 500 by 500. Would that fix this? Because if so, then I understand what's going on. It might not be positioned here. It might not also take immediately. So let's go restart this. He's speezy. That did not fix things, but it might also think it's positioned in a weird spot. Or maybe what I'm trying to do is just not possible. All right, let's have it spawn a window. There's no point in still hassling or struggling with this. All right. A node that creates a window. The window can either be a native system window or embedded inside another window. Yeah, so I should just be able to go make, let's try something really basic here. Let's make a window. And underneath it, let's put a panel container. And underneath that, let's put a label. The panel container will set to be 500 by 500. We'll make it stand out like crazy. So I will give it a new, very, very colorful background. Good. And then in the label, I will give this text saying hello world. And we'll have this thing clip text. Where's okay. Why is the label down there? I wonder if that's what I needed to change, is put all of this inside of a VBox container. I'd be impressed if that's what ended up happening here. I don't think setting this to stop matters. Maybe it's still behind the checkboxes. I don't think Godot can work that way, but I'm not sure what's happening. So yeah, I'm just taking shots in the dark too at this point. All right, anyway, so we go back to this thing. So I'm going to put a VBox container above that. And I guess I should make this a button, not a label, because that's my whole problem. Click me. Okay, so there's our like fake window here. I'm just going to call this scenes delete me. Actually, I should just put this in the root. So now what happens if we put that window in here? And I just hit the play button. Because I don't know where this even shows up. So it's up there. So we shouldn't be able to click anything behind it. Does the window have a size as well? It does. Yeah. Is that a normal setting, the way you color the file tree folders? It's built into Godot, if that's what you mean. You can, I forgot how you do this. There's some way to do this in here. Huh. Oh, wait, maybe you can't do it on res. Yeah. As long as it's not the root folder, you can just go to set folder color on any of these. So I use red for assets, green for scenes, and orange for source. And it's kind of nice. It makes it clear if you're in the wrong folder at any point. Or clearer. And I think I even set the same thing on Mac OS. Yeah, red for assets, green for scenes, and that looks more like a yellowish orange. All right, so I want to position this window somewhere off in the middle of nowhere. You can't move a window? Oh, weird. You can't move it. You can't move it with this thing, move mode. That doesn't do anything. In fact, you can't click it either. You apparently have to use this. All right, so what I want to do is I want to position this like somewhere on the screen here and probably increase the size of it a little bit. And just see, does this properly block everything else that I could click? Because it should. I can't tell, I guess. We need to move it to the side a little bit more. Okay, and now just left a little bit. Oh, that works. Yeah, so I cannot click the button behind this. You can see when it's to the left, that is now hovered and I can click it. But right here, the button is still behind this and obviously I can't click it. And there's an X above it. The X doesn't do anything. So yeah, we could do this. We could use a window apparently. And it might not even be too crazy to do. It just feels like this is getting a little out of control. What does a window inherit from, by the way? Just a viewport and then a node. And I have 8 problems here. Oh, and this is going to break. Oh, man. I wonder why that's a problem, though. Yeah, I don't like this at all. Maybe the behavior is inherited and overriding the mouse filter. There is no inherit mode for the mouse filter, at least. It's done in a hierarchy, and it starts with I think the lowest node and then works its way up. So basically, if any of these say stop, it's not going to go higher up in the scene tree. There might be... There's no other canvas layer here. There's no other viewport. Yeah, I don't have an explanation for why this is happening. Like I said, something weird is going on, and I don't exactly know what. But howdy, raccoon. All right, what else? Sprite was getting unhandled input event. Sub viewport continuity. I don't think we have anything strange going on the title screen. Do we? I guess everything's in a canvas layer here. But that's all of the UI, including the settings menu, which is all self-contained anyway. Anything else in here? It's possible this is a Godot bug too, by the way. Can't totally rule that out. Yeah, we don't have any viewports in here. Yeah, I don't know. I find this quite confusing. All right, so let's try something a little different here. Let's make this editable children. Now I can see all of these directly in this node. We can even put the pop-up there. I wonder if... I mean, I can move this anywhere. And I guess we can add in a button here too. And say, click me. All right, so the pop-up should have a size. It doesn't. I don't know if that matters. Like, what if we set this to whatever the size of the button is? I'm pretty sure it doesn't because it didn't seem to before. 52 by 23. 52 by 23. Well, it's not apparently totally accurate. Guess we can just expand this until it fits the whole thing. And then I want to try this outside of a control. This is working. No, wait, it's not working fine. Okay, so let's just try putting a button there. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Maybe that's what's doing this. Okay, never mind. I think I might know what's going on. Language controls is the thing that owns that pop-up menu. And it's above this in the scene hierarchy. And like I said, it works its way up the scene hierarchy. So I think we would need to add this pop-up to a different location and everything would work okay. In fact, what we could do for that is we could do this. We could make local and then just move this down the scene tree. And put it like there, for example. And then I'm guessing this is just going to be fixed. Wow. Let's see if that works. Yep. Okay, well, that was my bad. I should write that down. What's the plan for dynamically changing the language across the game? The plan's already pretty much done, which is Godot has some things built in for that. And then we have some ways to like fetch different strings. So if you were to change this to another language, which I currently have broken right now. Also interesting. How is it still working? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, by the way, this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah, now we can make this work. And I got to write this in my notes too. Anyway, let's say you could click French. What it's going to do is it will send a notification to any components that care. And they could then change to French if they want. But it'll also change any scene files on its own. So for example, this is a scene where we have a lot of the strings typed out. So like music intervals should just change. Unfortunately, I don't have any way to show this right now, but it should be working. All right, so I got to write this down. Another consideration for clickability. So an element is clickable through another element. I had this scene hierarchy. Well, okay, so it's possible that the element showing on top is actually above another element in the scene tree. So the input handling order is not what you expect. For example, let's just take a picture of this. So I want to take a picture of it not working. So I got to move this back to where it won't work, which is under here. And then put that there. And then take a picture of this. The mouse is hovering here. But you can see, well, yeah. All right. All right, so in the screenshot above, the mouse is on a, well, it's on a hovering over English, but you can see that the checkbox behind it is what would be clicked. This is because we have this scene hierarchy. So language, settings, pop-up control, English button, French button, and German button. And then we have the show quick move checkbox and pan camera checkbox. Moving, pop-up control, farther down the hierarchy causes this to work as expected. This does, yeah. All right, so now we gotta go clean everything up, I guess. So that means that the locale menu would pop something up in a different part of the scene tree. So we should give it that control somewhere. I mean, is there a reason to even make a custom scene for this? Yeah, I guess so. I don't really feel like doing this stuff right now. Yeah. I've been skipping through the breaks because it was only going to be a morning stream anyway. But yeah, I see enough work ahead of me. So what I'm going to have to do is this. I have to make it so the locale menu can take in a parameter that we customize in the editor. So we basically like pass it where the pop-up menu node is going to go. Then we put the pop-up menu node down here somewhere. Then when you click the locale menu button, so whatever English is, it's going to need to put all this like pop-up stuff over where the pop-up node is. Then we need to dynamically set everything. So like English is not necessarily what your thing is going to show. It's going to show whatever your locale is. And then any buttons that get added beneath it need to be all of the locales. And then clicking them need to do the right thing. And then we need to dynamically set the font. So all said, that's probably like an hour, hour and a half of work, which is annoying because really the only thing we're solving here, I don't have that picture anymore, do I? No. I got rid of it. Yeah, I got rid of it. Yeah, the only thing we're solving here is just making it so that all the languages can render in their native language. If this would not work for some reason, there's CJKJP that has all glyphs you need, and there's a pift subset tool that can make a font subset. Really? Because I was gonna say the font subset sounds like the best part to me. Because I just need like 50 characters total, and then we're done. Does Godot have a raycast system? Yeah, it does. Pi font subset, is that what that is? Interesting. Interesting indeed. Very interesting. The thing is, so I would need to make a font subset out of 4 different fonts and then combine them all. The combining part might be a little tough. Oh, but there's a whole library for this, font tools. So what can this do? It's got to be able to combine them. Plot, sim font, remove overlaps. What's this thing called again? Subset? Subset doesn't even show here, huh? Are you not planning to use a full font to display the text in the language when selected? Yeah. So the language menu just needs to show something like English or French or German or I need to use Google Translate for this. Yeah, something like Korean, right? So like, let's say all we supported were these languages. Then all we need is a capital E, a capital F, a capital G, like lowercase, you can see where this is going. Lowercase, all of these, and then these 3 Korean characters. So if we make a font that only has those characters, then this menu can be accommodated with a single font, which currently we can't do. Once you click Korean, yes, we need the entire Korean font because you're going to render more than just those 3 glyphs. But yeah, this would solve me having to write a completely custom component here. I'm not sure if it's worth the hassle. I think if these font tools can do everything I need and they're not that hard to do, then yeah, maybe we can figure that out. But I don't know. I don't know how this will end up working. Like the way that Korean works, for example, is every glyph is actually a combination of up to 3 other glyphs. So like this circle, the vertical line, and the other little L-shaped thing there, they could all show up in different orders or something, or in different combinations. So like, would that work if I just pulled the glyphs out? Why would you not just load them? Seems like a whole lot of work for minimal benefit. I think the problem statement is not clear here, and I don't know where the understanding is. I don't say this in like an annoyed way or something. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if I click this, so this menu right now is broken because of these Unicode characters, and we have to only render this menu with one font, but there is no one font that contains Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. So that's the problem. So I need to either make a custom component to render each line in a different font, or I need one font that can render all of these things. Once you've selected this, yes, we need the font for all of the characters of that language, but that's not a problem. It's just this menu rendering with Unicode blobs here. That's the problem. And I don't want to get a font that contains, so here's the other issue. Like, let's say I do this and I get a font that contains these things. First of all, it also needs English, which I guess it would have. But what happens when I add something like Russian, for example? There's not going to be like a Cyrillic CJK font. And this can only be pushed so far. Hey, HR post. Nerd Font has a patcher. You can patch fonts. I don't know how much that would help. I think the way we're going to do this is just make this custom component. And yeah, most people aren't even going to need to click it ever. But yeah, I think that way, at least we just never have to touch it again. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm going to save this for later, as I mentioned. Okay, I never wrote a journal entry for yesterday. Yeah, it's not future proof. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another, I don't feel like messing around with that. All right, so what did you do yesterday? Oh yeah, that's why I didn't fill out the journal. The power went out. So what did we do? Worked on font localization. Got Japanese. Did I do this? Yeah, I got Japanese stuff, mostly rendering. The power went out and cut off the stream. Hey, Seshamara. Oh, hey, I have a note for you. Yeah. I tried your Plant Sweeper game, and I wrote, good work. It's a little hard to see the numbers in such a small font, but I like the flower picture idea. But yeah, I told you I had it on my to-do list. I finally got around to it. Continued working on font localization. Most things are done except for the locale menu. Chinese, Korean, and Japanese fonts should all look good. Then the localization is a lot of work and pretty difficult to get right. Done on quite a few apps. No games, though. Yeah, I think it is tough. And we've gotten almost all of the foundation finished. So we have this stupid thing, which I just don't want to do. Yeah, we have this stupid thing left, and then we have the actual translations themselves. I'm going to put this into here just so that I don't have to keep taking a picture of it. Is this inability to use multiple fonts just unique to the way that menu is structured, or is it a Godot problem? So Godot, this like darker thing on the bottom here is called a pop-up menu. Pop-up menu in particular does not have a way of adding arbitrary elements. You either add an icon, you add a checkbox, you add a label, or you add a radio thing or a separator. So if this had something like add button, then we'd just be able to add a button with a custom font. And Godot itself has a way of you just writing your own pop-up menu, which is what we're going to do. But yeah, they don't have this sort of thing. And in my searching, it didn't sound like someone else had kind of running the same sort of thing. The other, actually, I guess another way of doing this that would probably be even simpler, rather than making a pop-up menu, is something like what we do here. We have a checkbox that just shows all the sound controls. We could just put all the... I guess it doesn't really matter what I do, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's not like what I'm trying to do is difficult. I figured out my problem. I just need to code it. Thanks for playing it. Yeah. Thanks for sharing it. And leave a comment. I'm not the kind of person to ever leave comments or reviews for things. So I won't be doing that. But that's why I wrote my comment for you here, so I can still share it. Okay, so this is good. This is the last thing we need to do. So I'll just write where I left off. I figured out that I need the pop-up menu to show up in the right spot in the scene hierarchy, at which point I probably don't need Z ordering tricks. I just need to refactor stuff so that I use that menu, make dynamic buttons, use the right fonts for each button, and then handle changing the locale through the buttons as opposed to the pop-up menu. Yeah. Yeah, the reason I'm frustrated by this is just busy work pretty much. Like and it's for such a small payoff. And there's one other tiny problem here, which is that in order to render the settings menu, we now need to load every font we ever support in the game. I almost wonder if what we should do instead is we should just take a picture of what the font should look like. Like imagine if this was it and I just checked, oh, did you click the first item in the picture? Or did you click the second item or the third item? And we just know what's what. And then instead of loading every single font to render all of these, we just load a picture. Or 10 pictures or something. It doesn't matter. In fact, that 10 pictures way is something that might be worth doing. Yeah. I don't like that we'll be loading every single font. Yeah. For everyone. I think the settings menu exists all the time, and this would... Well, it's only when you click the button, maybe. Yeah, we can probably make it so that it's only when you click the button to open the menu that it makes those labels. Yeah, that would probably work. You solved the expert mode 3 times to get all the flowers. Oh no, I just played one round on beginner. It was incredibly hard for me to do that, by the way. Those labels were very tiny. I could probably show you. Plant sweeper, itch. Yeah. So let me just load. So I hit play and then beginner and oops, that's okay, this is just totally random, right? Yeah, these numbers are so tiny on my screen that I like was really struggling to play. So I played once and I then wrote my little note and then I was done. All right, I think we're good, right? Yeah, I think we're good. All right, so tomorrow, here's what I want to do. I think it's like work toward publishing a new demo in the morning, publish a new playtest version. We still need the note about AI translations, although I guess nothing will be translated except for a bit of French, which was done by a human. Publish a new playtest version, and then maybe work on music in the afternoon. Not sure I want to start something new. There's overflow time. This feedback alone is great for me now. Well, okay. If you, I didn't know if you really wanted all the feedback. The other feedback is, and you just saw this happen. I clicked 3 times to start a game and found 3 like bombs immediately. That should be impossible. Like you don't control. It's just purely random whether you would click a bomb. And if there are 10 of them and there are whatever 50 squares, it's like, oh, there's a 1/5 chance of just losing the game immediately. So like that should be impossible. You should just rearrange the board to make it work or rotate it or something. And then yeah, the text size. And then I think the UI theming, which I wouldn't expect in a game made in 2 days to look all that different. But yeah, so that's kind of all I experienced in that amount of time at least. In the end, it's Minesweeper, right? So it's like it's not a novel game to me. So it's not something that even if it had the best theme and like I don't know, like a whole bunch of colors and effects and stuff, I'd be like, well, it's still just Minesweeper in the end. So yeah, I don't say that in a bad way. It's just like, in terms of fun, I probably would not play it for very long. All right, so I got to clean all this stuff up. Oh yeah, one other little thing. So Jitspo's event is this Saturday. I know I've been talking about this a lot, but yeah, in 2 days and 2 hours and 30 minutes, he's going to be going through all of these games, 15-second long trailers. Skella Seller's in this list. I actually don't think I can watch this. I think I have a previous engagement, which is unfortunate because I want to see this. So I'll probably check out the VOD afterward, or maybe I can tune in for a little bit. But that's it for today. I'm going to go raid somebody. Oh, hey, Kit's doing something special, right? Yeah, I should raid Kit. Needed some idea to do after 3 years of pause. It was meant more to learn Godot 4. Yeah. And yeah, that's why I say, like, definitely take everything I'm saying with the context that's needed behind it, which is like, I did want to just check out the game and not necessarily invest a lot of time. You know that you spent 2 days making it, that sort of thing. All right, so I'm gonna raid Kit. He is presumably doing scam baiting right now. Yes, he is. And it's his 1500th episode. So let's go say hi. I'll be back online tomorrow. It should be hopefully a full day of streaming, and it should be, I also hope, some more fun stuff than font localization things. Thank you all for watching. Take care.